On the Blade Runner thing,
Yep.
where do you place this version against all the others?
You know, it's funny. There's a kind of miasma of...
You sounded tired. But
No, I tell you, because...
annoyed that I'd even asked the question.
Not annoyed. It's like one of those things. It's like the 3-in-1. You know, it's like define the Holy Trinity, all that sort of stuff. There's no answer other than because there is something to be said for all the versions. The work print is in the end a work print, right? The original version. Are you spilling your coffee all over yourself?
Just a bit hot.
Okay, the original. It's coffee, Simon. You know, they should put a note on the thing which says warning. Please, it's coffee. It's hot. Duh.
Carry on. Ignore me.
The work print is just a work print. The version with the voiceover is all over the shop, although some people actually have a strange nostalgic fondness for the voiceover. The director's cut was a director's cut, but not quite a director's cut. The final cut is sort of the director's cut with the little mistakes cleaned up. But in the end, whichever version of Blade Runner you watch, you are going to be pretty staggered by it. I mean, a friend of mine said that somebody said to them the other day, I'm just going to see Blade Runner, the final cut, and I've never seen the film before. And this person, Nigel, said... I'm so envious of you to be able to see Blade Runner for the first time and in the correct version. I mean, how wonderful to be able to walk into it for the first time in the proper version. Because the rest of us have kind of got to this version via so many other different versions. It's like, you keep digging away, you keep digging away, you keep digging away. They're funny, Tutankhamun, where have you been? So that's what it's like. I think the new version is pretty spectacular. But I think all the versions have a validity in some bizarre way.
This from Andrew says, went to see Blade Runner with my girlfriend Tracy the other night. Halfway through the movie, I pointed out that Harrison Ford's eyes had an orange tint in them.
Well, that's in the, that's in the new version.
Well, clearly, she's just gone the other day, so they've gone to see the new version.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, no, beg your pardon, okay.
I went to see Blade Runner with my girlfriend Tracy the other night. That's the key bit.
Okay.
Halfway through the movie, I pointed out Harrison Ford's eyes had an orange tint in them. She asked, what does that mean? He's a replicant, I said.
He is.
She looked shocked. Then she looked angry. Then she elbowed me in the ribs and said, no, he isn't. You can't argue with logic like that. So we can put to rest the question over whether Deckard is a replicant.
Well, I can give you chapter and verse on this because, as you know, my documentary on the edge of Blade Runner, which isn't on the new box set,
how disappointing that must be for you.
The fans are crushed. Was the first place that Ridley Scott ever said in public he's a replicant. Of course, the interesting thing about Ridley Scott saying he's a replicant was Harrison Ford, who plays him, didn't think he was a replicant. And there's a lovely, and this is the truth of where the Deckard is a replicant thing comes from. It came from a misunderstanding in the script between Hampton Fancher and David Webb Peoples, right? They were writing the script separately, working on it separately, and at one point sort of quite rivalrously, but then end up coming together. And at one point, one of them, and I think it was Hampton Fancher, had written a line in which Deckard is wondering about human beings being the people that built the replicants, right? They built the replicants, therefore they have a godlike relationship to the replicants. And Deckard then says...
Is there much more of this?
Yes, no.
Okay.
And Deckard then says, and I wondered, what about him who made me? And Fancher meant it as, what about God? But David Webb Peoples read it and went, brilliant! Deckard's a replicant. And Hampton Fancher went, is he? And David Webb Peoples said, yeah, it's in your script. And Hampton said, yeah, great idea. That's where the Deckard is a replicant thing comes from a misunderstanding. And of course, he is. And then, as Ridley Scott said, he's a replicant, except if you're Harrison Ford, in which case he isn't.
A bit niche,
you brought it up.
I know, I didn't realise the answer was going to be
The Wicker Man and Blade Runner. You'll be doing the big E word next, and we'll never get anything reviewed.